The story of Dragon Age Origins is the story of the rise of the hero of Ferelden and the decisions he or she makes as the newest recruit of the ancient order of the Grey Wardens. Rumors abound about this individual all across Thedas, and no one can seem to agree on exactly who this person was, where they came from, or what specific skills they excelled at. Even the crucial decisions that determined whether they were a savior or an opportunist are still debated among the citizens. So what is the truth? Well, the truth can be hard to suss out with so many voices offering different opinions. What we do know is that they came from somewhere, that they have an origin story. It's important to remember that Dragon Age Origins is a game of many choices, and although we will explore some in the origin stories of this and future parts, the outcome will inevitably be the same. In the last part of the full story of Dragon Age Origins, we explored the origin story of the Mage. Now we head to the Brazilian forest where the nomadic Dalish Elves are temporarily calling home.
You were born amidst the Dalish Elves, noble wanderers who refused to join the society of humans that subjugated their homeland so long ago. The Dalish travel the land in tightly knit clans, struggling to maintain their half-forgotten lore in a human world that fears and despises them. You spend your time hunting with your clanmate Tamlin in the forests, and as is sometimes the case, your quarry is not always the local wildlife.
It's a Dalish!
And you three are somewhere you shouldn't be.
Let us pass, Elf. You have no right to stop us.
No? We will see about that, won't we? You're just in time. I found these humans lurking in the bushes. Bandits, no doubt.
We aren't bandits, I swear. Please don't hurt us.
You Shemlin are pathetic. It's hard to believe you ever drove us from our homeland.
We've never done nothing to you, Dalish. We didn't even know this forest was yours.
This forest isn't ours, fool. You stumbled too close to our camp. You Shems are like vermin. We can't trust you not to make mischief. What do you say, Lethalon? What should we do with them?
Give them a warning. Killing them will only bring trouble.
Letting them go might bring more of them. You are too soft.
Look, we didn't come here to be trouble. We just found a cave.
Yes, a cave. With ruins like I've never seen. We thought there might be,
Treasure? So you're more akin to thieves than actual bandits.
We know this forest. There are caves but no ruins. You lie.
But I have proof. Here, we found this just inside the entrance.
This stone has carvings. Is this Elvish? Written Elvish?
There's more in the ruins. We didn't get very far in, though.
This sounds like a trap. Don't believe it.
A trap? Oh, we didn't even know you elves were here. We were just trying to find the treasure.
And this is all you found? Why didn't you look for more?
There was a demon. It was huge with black eyes. Thank the Maker we were able to outrun it.
A demon. Where is this cave?
Just off the west, I think. There's a cave in the rock face and a huge hole just inside.
Well, do you trust them? Shall we let them go?
You frightened them enough. They won't bother us.
Run along then, Shems. And don't come back until we Dalish have moved on.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, shall we see if there's any truth to this story? These carvings make me curious.
Shouldn't we inform the Keeper?
She might be interested in these carvings, but let's see if there's anything more before we get excited. Besides, we're already here. Now, they said it was to the west.
We are Tharin Mahariel, a Dalish elf who has lived his whole life away from the humans who once enslaved us. We are cautious and wary in our approach to life, the exact opposite of our best friend Tamlin, who always seems to get us into mischief. As much as we don't trust those Shemlin, as much as we believe the Keeper should be informed before we go off on our own, Tamlin is right. Something about those caves has piqued our interest. After the Shemlin run off, we get a codex page on the Dalish Elves, which, since we are Dalish, is slightly different than the codex page we read in Part 3. In time, the human empires will crumble. We have seen it happen countless times. Until then, we wait. We keep to the wild borderlands, we raise Hala and build Aravels, and present a moving target to the humans around us. We try to keep hold of the old ways, to relearn what was forgotten. We call to the ancient gods, although they do not answer and have not heard us since before the fall of Arlathan, so that one day they might remember us. Elgranon, the eldest of the sun, and he who overthrew his father, Mithal, the protector, Fenharal, the dread wolf, Andruil, the huntress, Falondin, the friend of the dead, Durthamen, the keeper of secrets, Gilanain, the mother of Hala, June, the master of crafts, and Selace, the hearth keeper. We gather every 10 years for the Arlathven, to retell the ancient stories and keep them alive. For when the human kingdoms are gone, we must be ready to teach the others what it means to be elves. Gisharel, keeper of the Ralaferin clan of the Dalish Elves. Heading down the path, we run into some particularly aggressive wolves. Easily dispatched, we see the Hala they were feasting on up ahead. Examining it, we get a codex page on the Hala. No creature is more revered by the Dalish than the Hala. No other animal has a god of its own. These white stags are much larger than ordinary deer, and the Dalish Hala keepers carve their antlers as they grow, making them curve into intricate designs. In ancient times, these stags bore elven knights into combat, but since the fall of the Dales, they are used less as mounts and more to pull the Aravels. There's also a chest half buried in the earth, but neither Tamlin nor Tharin are rogues, and both lack the ability to pick locks. Heading north along the path, we can examine a tree stump to get a codex page on our current location, the Brazilian Forest. There are places in the Brazilian Forest where the veil is so thin, the difference between awake and dreaming is next to nothing. In one such place, a wood shaper was born under such unfortunate stars that his mother named him Abalas, which means sorrow, and he lived up to his name. He could keep no apprentices and lost his stock of bows in mishap after mishap, until finally he had nothing. The rest of the clan began to fear that his ill luck would harm them too, and whispered among themselves of casting him out. Abalas heard them and resolved to change his luck, and so went into the forest alone to seek a suitable tree from which to make bows. But at last he spied a young rowan growing beside a stream. He drew his axe, and the tree cried out in fear, begging to be spared. But Abalas said, "If I do not take your life, mine will surely end." With 2 strokes he felled the tree. From the tree he made the finest 3 bows he had ever crafted. Pleased, Abalas returned to the camp and gave his bows to the hunters at once. By nightfall, however, the camp was in uproar. The hunters had returned with braces of hairs which, when cut open, revealed only worms and sawdust. The elder said it was a sign that the hunters had robbed some spirit of its host, for it is well known that spirits do not go about the waking world on their own, but inhabit another creature's body. The elder worked a charm to banish the spirits back to the Fade, and the clan went to sleep hungry. The next day, the hunters brought back a doe, and again the beast bled sawdust. Now the clan began to fear the spirit would starve them, and wondered what they had done to deserve it. Abalas came forward then and told of the rowan tree. The elder considered for a long time before declaring that they must replace what Abalas had taken from the spirit. So he sent the hunters to dig up a rowan sapling and bring it, living, to the camp. There the elder ordered the sapling planted and appealed to the spirit for forgiveness. There was a terrible sound then, as if the whole forest were crying out in protest. Darkness fell upon the camp, though it was just past midday. And when the darkness passed, a rowan grove, every tree bearing the frozen face of a terrified elf, stood where the camp had been. From then on, it was forbidden in every clan to cut living trees in the Brazilian forest. The spirits know nothing of forgiveness. The Rowan Grove, a Dalish tale from Ferelden Folklore and History by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Continuing on, we eventually start seeing some decaying ruins rising high into the sky, and Tamlin pulls us aside to speak with us.
This must be the cave. I don't recall seeing this before, do you?
No, and that worries me. We should be wary.
Always the careful one. Fine, but I'm not running back until I know there's something worth making a fuss over. Come on, let's at least see what's there. How dangerous could it be?
Always the careful one, eh? Well, one of us has to be, or at least should be. Moving forward, we can head into the cave.
It looks like the Shem was telling the truth. But these ruins look more human than elven.
Heading deeper into the ruins, we run into some nasty creatures, giant spiders. With a bit of effort, they are beaten back, but it leaves us more than a little unnerved. We fight groups of them again and again as we move further into this strange place, and eventually we see a corpse lying on the ground. Judging from the decomposition, we can safely assume they've been dead for longer than we've been alive. Stepping over more bodies and nearing a statue, Tamlin stops to comment on it.
I can't believe this. You recognize this statue, don't you?
It's worn, but it looks vaguely familiar.
Back when our people lived in Arlathan, statues like these honored the creators. When the Shems enslaved us, much of that lore was lost. This looks like human architecture, with the statue of our people. Can these ruins date back to the time of Arlathan?
This isn't the time or place for a history lesson, Tamlin.
I suppose you're right. Still, the possibility is thrilling.
Turning to the large door directly opposite the statue, we trigger a trap and the corpses become animated, rising up to attack us. No time to wonder how or why, it's kill or be killed, and we fight our way through these undead soldiers. After they are returned to their inert state, we can head through the door where we see not only a giant mirror, but some sort of corrupted beast that attacks us. After it is dead, we can examine the mirror in the center of the room.
Now is better than later.
Beautiful, isn't it? I wonder what the writing says.
The Keeper might be able to translate it.
Maybe, but she's not here to help us. Odd that it isn't broken like everything else, especially with that bear lumbering around in here. I wonder what this writing is for. Maybe this isn't... Hey, did you see that? I think something moved inside the mirror.
You're imagining things.
No, it was right there. Wait, there it is again. Can you feel that? I think it knows we're here. I just need to take a closer look. It's showing me places. I can see some kind of city. Underground. And there's a great blackness. It saw me. Help! I can't look away!
Can you hear me? I am very sorry.
You're awake. You've the god's own luck, Lethaline. You're back at camp. Everyone is worried sick about you. How do you feel?
Worried. Where is Tamlin?
We don't know. The Shem who brought you here saw no sign of him.
There was a human?
A Shem brought you back 2 days ago. You don't remember him?
We drove off some Shems in the forest.
I doubt you could have driven this one off. He was a Grey Warden and appeared out of nowhere with you slung over his shoulder. You were delirious with fever. He said that he found you outside a cave in the forest, unconscious and alone. He left you here and ran off again. The Keeper's been using the old magic to heal you.
The Shemlin was a Grey Warden?
So he claimed. I just wish he'd told us where that cave was. Most of the hunters are looking for it right now. But the Keeper wanted to talk to you as soon as you awoke. Stay here. I'll get her.
I see you are awake, Dalan. It is fortunate Duncan found you when he did. I know not what dark power held you, but it nearly bled the life from you. It was difficult even for my magic to keep you alive.
Then Tamlin could be sick as well?
If he encountered the same thing you did? Yes. The Grey Warden said he found you alone outside a cave, already stricken. Duncan thought there may have been darkspawn creatures inside the cave. Is that true?
There were walking corpses and other strange monsters.
Walking corpses? Dark magic, but not darkspawn. I know not what the other creatures might have been. What else did you find? What is the last thing you remember?
A mirror. Tamlin touched it.
A mirror. And it caused all this? I have never heard of such a thing in all the lore we have collected. I was hoping for answers when you woke, but there are only more questions. And Tamlin remains missing. He is more important than any lore in these ruins. If he is as sick as you were, his condition is grave. Duncan returned to the cave to search for Darkspawn, but we cannot rely on him to look for Tamlin as well. We must go ourselves, and quickly. Do you feel well enough to show us the way, Dalin? Without you, we will not find it.
I am up to it, Keeper. I feel fine.
I am relieved to hear it. I am ordering the clan to pack the camp so we can go north. Take Merrill with you to the cave. Find Tamlin if you can, but do it swiftly.
The clan is leaving?
If there is any truth to what Duncan said, then Darkspawn may show up in these parts soon. We must get away from that horde. But that is not our only concern. Did you encounter any other humans out in the forest?
3 of them. We drove them off.
Although you hurt no one, these humans roused their nearby village against us. As everywhere, our people are not welcome here. We have stayed too long, and we must move on, quickly.
Take Merrill to the cave and find Tamlin. I understand.
Go quickly, for Tamlin's life hangs in the balance.
I am curious about these Darkspawn you mentioned.
Remember that Tamlin needs your help.
Could that bear-like monster have been a Darkspawn?
The old tomes say Darkspawn come in as many varieties as surface creatures. They also say that many Darkspawn are seen only during what the humans call a blight. Perhaps your bear monster was one of those.
Didn't the Grey Wardens destroy Darkspawn long ago?
They destroyed the last horde of Darkspawn to threaten the surface centuries ago. It doesn't mean they extinguished them all.
I have no more questions about the Darkspawn Keeper.
Then do not tarry. Find Tamlin quickly.
Although we are worried about Tamlin, we feel a need to take a moment, catch our breath. We nearly died, and everyone seems surprised that we are still here standing. Something in us feels like we should speak with those we care about, our people who we've known all our lives. We can speak first with Fenarel, who is standing very near us.
Is the Keeper sending you back to that cave to look for Tamlin?
Why do you want to know?
I want to go with you. Keeper Marathari probably won't approve, but I can help find Tamlin.
All right, come with us.
Good. I'll follow you, just to make sure Meryl doesn't go running to the Keeper when you tell her I'm coming.
Towards the edge of the camp, we see a statue of Fenharel. Examining it, we get a codex page on Fenarel, the Dread Wolf. There is precious little we know about Fenarel, for they say he did not care for our people. Elgranon and Mythal created the world as we know it, Andruil taught us the ways of the hunter, Selace and June gave us fire and crafting, but Fenharel kept to himself and plotted the betrayal of all the gods. And after the destruction of Arlathan, when the gods could no longer hear our prayers, it is said that Fenarel spent centuries in a far corner of the earth, giggling madly and hugging himself in glee. The legend says that before the fall of Arlathan, the gods we know and revere fought an endless war with others of their kind. There is not a Haren among us who remembers these others. Only in dreams do we hear whispered the names of Gelduran and Daenarthal and Anaris, for they are the forgotten ones, the gods of terror and malice, spite and pestilence. In ancient times, only Fenharel could walk without fear among both our gods and the Forgotten Ones, for although he is kin to the gods of the people, the Forgotten Ones knew of his cunning ways, and saw him as one of their own. And that is how Fenharel tricked them. Our gods saw him as a brother, and they trusted him when he said that they must keep to the heavens while he arranged a truce. And the Forgotten Ones trusted him also when he said he would arrange for the defeat of our gods, if only the Forgotten Ones would return to the Abyss for a time. They trusted Fenharel, and they were all of them betrayed, and Fenharel sealed them away so they could never again walk among the people. From the tale of Fenharel's triumph, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. We see 2 elves practicing their archery. Approaching them.
Ah, it's good you're well. You weren't here when Paul arrived, were you?
I've heard of you. Everyone is talking about you and the other missing hunter. A Grey Warden brought you back here.
The hunter's name is Tamlin.
I hope you find him soon.
Paul's a flat air. He arrived here a few days ago from the human lands.
I heard rumors in a nearby human village that a Dalish camp was close, and I hope to find your hunters in the forest.
You were fortunate I didn't shoot you, Paul. I thought you were a Shem, and a bandit at that. You're not the first city elf to rejoin his people. I'm sure you'll find life among us more satisfying than with the Shems, if no less harsh.
In the alienage, we hear terrible stories about the Dalish. They aren't true, right?
You've nothing to worry about, Paul.
Thank you. The clan has been very kind and welcoming. I never expected it to be like this.
Good for Paul. We couldn't imagine being born under the yoke of the humans. We have heard stories about our cousins, the Flat Ears, squeezed into alienages while their human lords mock them from their manor homes. We can examine a wooden statue to get a codex page on June, god of the craft. We dedicate all our crafts to June, for it is he who taught the people to bend the branches of trees to make our bows, and to fashion coverings of furs and ironbark. Without June, would we have the Aravel or the harnesses for our Hala? When the people were young, we wandered the forest without purpose. We drank from streams and ate the berries and nuts that we could find. We did not hunt, for we had no bows. We wore nothing, for we had no knowledge of spinning or needlecraft. We shivered in the cold nights and went hungry through the winters, when all the world was covered in ice and snow. Then Selace the Hearthkeeper came and gave us fire and taught us how to feed it with wood. June taught us to fashion bows and arrows and knives so that we could hunt. We learned to cook the flesh of the creatures we hunted over Selace's fire, and we learned to clothe ourselves in their furs and skins. And the people were no longer cold and hungry, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. We can then speak with Master Island.
I'm glad you've recovered. Once we find Tamlin, we can concentrate on the journey northward.
Thank you for the bow, Master Island. It is light and sturdy, much better than the one I made last year.
You are more than welcome. My father made it and used it in battle against the Clane tribes.
I will carry it with honor.
Could I ask you for a bow as well, Master Island?
One of my own crafting, perhaps?
Yes, thank you.
It may not have a history, but you'll provide one for it soon enough, yes?
Why would you give away your father's bow?
We are all the same clan. His hand is as my hand. I have relinquished nothing. It was my father who first spoke of the Vir Tanadal, the three ways of the hunter. The first is the Vir Asan, the way of the arrow, to reach for our goal unrelenting. The second is the Vir Borasan, the way of the bow, to bend, but not to break. The last is the Vir Adalen, the way of the wood. We are as ancient as the forests, each tree a part of the greater land. All Dalish are united in this. One day, we shall have a homeland again.
I should go.
May the Creators guide your path.
We can then examine a headless statue to get a codex page on Gilnanane, mother of the Hala. They say Gilnanane was one of the people, in the days before Arlathan and the chosen of Andruil the Huntress. She was very beautiful, with hair of snowy white and as graceful as a gazelle. She kept always to Andruil's ways, and Andruil favored her above all others. One day while hunting in the forest, Gilnanane came across a hunter she did not know. At his feet lay a hawk, shot through the heart by an arrow. Gilnanane was filled with rage, for the hawk, along with the hare, is an animal much beloved of Andruil. Gilnanane demanded that the hunter make an offering to Andruil in exchange for taking the life of one of her creatures. The hunter refused, and Gilnanane called upon the goddess to curse him, so that he could never again hunt and kill a living creature. Gilnanane's curse took hold, and the hunter found that he was unable to hunt. His prey would dart out of sight, and his arrows would fly astray. His friends and family began to mock him for his impotence, for what use is a hunter who cannot hunt? Ashamed, the hunter swore he would find Gilnanane and repay her for what she had done to him. He found Gilnanane while she was out on a hunt with her sisters and lured her away from them with lies and false words. He told Gilnanane that he had learned his lesson and begged her to come with him, so she could teach him to make a proper offering to Andruil. Moved by his plea, Gilnanane followed the hunter, and when they were away from all of her sisters, the hunter turned on Gilnanane. He blinded her first, and then bound her as one would bind a kill fresh from the hunt. But because he was cursed, the hunter could not kill her. Instead, he left her for dead in the forest. And Gilnanane prayed to the gods for help. She prayed to Elgarnon for vengeance, to Mother Mythal to protect her, but above all she prayed to Andruil. Andruil sent her hares to Gilnanane, and they chewed through the ropes that bound her. But Gilnanane was still wounded and blind and could not find her way home. So Andruil turned her into a beautiful white deer, the first Hala. And Gilnanane found her way back to her sisters and led them to the hunter who was brought to justice. And since that day the Hala have guided the people and have never led us astray, for they listen to the voice of Gilnanane. From the tale of Gilnanane as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. We can then talk to Marin, who is standing next to the statue and in front of the Hala pen.
Anathara, It's good to see you recovered.
How are the Hala faring, Marin?
They fare well. The Keeper called for the clan to move on, and they will be ready to take us. One is heavy with calf, but it shouldn't be a problem. May I ask of Tamlin's fate? Some say the clan will leave before we find him.
We're going to find him. Don't worry.
The Hala mourn our fallen. No sound is more heart-wrenching than their mourning cry. At least they won't be crying over you. They are quite fond of you.
The Hala are beautiful creatures.
I admire them for their strength and pride. They are equals, not servants like the Shemlin horses. At any rate, I do not envy the Keeper's decision. I'll pray for Tamlin's safe return.
We can then speak with Haran Pyvel next to the large fire.
So you have returned to us, Dalen. We are grateful you are whole and well.
I am glad to be here as well, Haran.
So you should be. What were you two thinking, wandering into that cave without first coming to tell the Keeper?
We wanted to see if there was anything to tell, Haran.
Once you saw what was inside, you should have returned. But you kept exploring, didn't you?
I suppose your youth can be forgiven. Sadly, Tamlin pays the price.
Losing you would be a terrible crime, Dalen. You belong to more than just yourself, or do you not remember?
I'm sorry, Haran. I'll try harder next time.
Would you even know the reason behind your efforts? I wonder. Let us tell these children of the fall of the Dales. You can honor me by sharing in the telling.
Certainly, Haran.
Come then. Help me as I go along. Children, hear of the fall of the Dales. Hear the tale of what makes you Dalish. Would you care to begin, Dalen?
Long ago, we were slaves to the humans.
Yes, slaves to a terrible empire the humans built on the darkest magic. When it fell, we became free. We built a homeland in the Dales, worshipping the creators, and rebuilding the culture and history we lost in our long years of slavery.
But the humans wouldn't let us be.
They were resentful, because we would not worship their gods, and because we put our people first. Over the years, their nations grew cold toward the Dales. In their eyes, we were blasphemers and cruel tyrants.
Then the humans declared war on the Dales.
And so the Dales fell. They took our lands and dispersed our people, forcing us to live in their cities and abandon our gods. But many of us refused to relinquish our ways. We instead chose to scatter to the winds, wandering the lands.
We chose wandering the lands rather than the human rule.
To survive and preserve our culture, the clans stay apart until the day the Elvenon have a homeland once more.
We shall return the old ways to those who have lost them.
We are the Dalish, keepers of the lost lore, walkers of the lonely path.
We are the last Elvenon. Never again shall we submit.
Thank you for your forbearance, Dalen. You remember both the tale and the oath of the Dales perfectly. I will let you get back to your tasks. I pray you find Tamlin quickly.
What do you know about Darkspawn?
Only that they eat living flesh and lurk in underground tunnels, once ruled by the Dergenlen, the dwarves. In the last blight long ago, the Grey Wardens all but wiped them out. Should they return, all races will shudder.
What do you know about that Grey Warden?
The one who brought you back? Very little. He seemed decent enough as humans go. As for Grey Wardens, they're heroes without a doubt. Members of our own clan joined their ranks in ages past.
Did elves ever live in caves?
I've never heard of such a thing. But in the days of ancient Arlathan, we lived free and spread far across the continent. We were as varied as the Shemlin, though fewer in number. Perhaps some of us lived in caves then, but all knowledge from that era is lost.
I should go.
Of course. May the gods guide your path, Dalen.
We see a bunch of locked chests that we cannot open, but we can examine another carved head to get a codex page on Elgranon, God of Vengeance. Long ago, when time itself was young, the only things in existence were the sun and the land. The sun, curious about the land, bowed his head close to her body, and Elgranon was born in the place where they touched. The sun and the land loved Elgranon greatly, for he was beautiful and clever. As a gift to Elgranon, the land brought forth great birds and beasts of the sky and forest, and all manner of wonderful green things. Elgranon loved his mother's gifts and praised them highly and walked amongst them often. The sun, looking down upon the fruitful land, saw the joy that Elgranon took in her works and grew jealous. Out of spite, he shone his face full upon all the creatures the earth had created and burned them all to ashes. The land cracked and split from bitterness and pain and cried salt tears for the loss of all she had wrought. The pool of tears cried, for the land became the ocean, and the cracks in her body the first rivers and streams. Elgranon was furious at what his father had done and vowed vengeance. He lifted himself into the sky and wrestled the sun, determined to defeat him. They fought for an eternity, and eventually the sun grew weak, while Elgranon's rage was unabated. Eventually, Elgranon threw the sun down from the sky and buried him in a deep abyss created by the land's sorrow. With the sun gone, the world was covered in shadow, and all that remained in the sky were the reminders of Elgranon's battle with his father, drops of the sun's lifeblood which twinkled and shimmered in the darkness. From the tale of Elgranon and the sun, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. We can also pick up 2 codex pages from scrolls scattered around the camp, both about the story of Arlathan. Before the ages were named or numbered, our people were glorious and eternal and never changing. Like the great oak tree, they were constant in their traditions, strong in their roots, and ever reaching for the sky. They felt no need to rush when life was endless. They worshipped their gods for months at a time. Decisions came after decades of debate, and an introduction could last for years. From time to time, our ancestors would drift into centuries-long slumber, but this was not death, for we know they wandered the fade in dreams. In those ages, our people called all the land Elvenon, which in the old Elven language means place of our people. And at the center of the world stood the great city of Arlathan, a place of knowledge and debate where the best of the ancient elves would go to trade knowledge, greet old friends, and settle disputes that had gone on for millennia. But while our ancestors were caught up in the forever cycle of ages, drifting through life at what we would today consider an intolerable pace, the world outside the lush forests and ancient trees was changing. The humans first arrived from Parvolan to the north. Called Shemlin, or Quicklings, by the ancients, the humans were pitiful creatures whose lives blinked by in an instant. When they first met the elves, the humans were brash and warlike, quick to anger and quicker to fight, with no patience for the unhurried pace of elven diplomacy. But the humans brought worse things than the war with them. Our ancestors proved susceptible to human diseases, and for the first time in history, elves died of natural causes. What's more, these elves who spent time bartering and negotiating with humans found themselves aging, tainted by the humans' brash and impatient lives. Many believed that the ancient gods had judged them unworthy for their long lives and cast them down among the Quicklings. Our ancestors came to look upon the humans as parasites, which I understand is similar to the way the humans see our people in the cities. The ancient elves immediately moved to close Elvenon off from the humans for fear that this quickening effect would crumble the civilization. The fall of Arlathan is told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. You ask what happened to Arlathan? Sadly, we do not know. Even those of us who keep the ancient lore have no record of what truly happened. What we have are accounts of the days before the fall and a fable of the whims of the gods. The human world was changing even as the elves slept. Clans and tribes gave way to a powerful empire called Tevinter, which, and for what reason we do not know, moved to conquer Elvenon. When they breached the great city of Arlathan, our people, fearful of disease and loss of immortality, chose to flee rather than fight. With magic, demons, and even dragons at their behest, the Tevinter Imperium marched easily through Arlathan, destroying homes and galleries and amphitheaters that had stood for ages. Our people were corralled as slaves, and human contact quickened their veins until every captured elf turned mortal. The elves called to their ancient gods, but there was no answer. As to why the gods didn't answer, our people left only a legend. They say that Fenharel, the Dread Wolf and Lord of Tricksters, approached the ancient gods of good and evil and proposed a truce. The gods of good would remove themselves to heaven, and the lords of evil would exile themselves to the abyss, neither group ever again to enter the other's lands. But the gods did not know that Fen'Harel had planned to betray them, and by the time they realized the Dreadwolf's treachery, they were sealed in their respective realms, never again to interact with the mortal world. It is a fable, to be sure, but those elves who travel the beyond claim that Fen'Harel still roams the world of dreams, keeping watch over the gods lest they escape from their prisons. Whatever the case, Arlathan had fallen to the very humans our people had once considered mere pests. It is said that the Tevinter Magisters used their great destructive power to force the very ground to swallow Arlathan whole, destroying eons of collected knowledge, culture, and art, the whole of elven lore left only to memory. The fall of Arlathan as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. Heading south around the camp, we can speak with the woman who raised us, Ashal.
By the creators, it is so good to see you whole and well. I was so worried.
You really shouldn't worry so much about me.
I can't help it, dear. I've raised you since your poor mother died. I've been outside the Keeper's tent the whole time. I have never been so relieved as when I heard you would pull through. What happened? Everyone says Tamlin may be dead.
He's missing. That's all we know right now.
That's awful. He's been a good friend to you since you were fledglings. You must be more careful. Your mother and father, may they rest in peace, would be horrified to see you take such risks.
You always say that.
It's true. Your mother was... well, let's not talk about that. I'm sure you have plenty on your mind.
You've never spoken of my parents much, Ashal.
What happened to them is a sad tale, and it's in the past. Reopening old wounds benefits no one.
Don't we Dalish strive to learn of our past?
True. Perhaps you're old enough to hear this, though it hardly seems like the right time.
Is there ever a good time?
Very well. If I do not tell you now, you'll only wonder. Your mother was a hunter, one of the finest, and your father was the keeper before Marathari. He was with us for a very long time. Your mother was from another clan, and her elders did not approve of the match. She and your father had to meet in secret. One day, bandits caught them alone in the forest. Your father was killed, but your mother escaped.
Humans killed my father?
Yes, but also city elves too. Those of our kind living with humans do not hold to the old ways. Your mother held to life long enough to give birth to you. But grief racked her heart. One night she simply walked into the moonlight and never returned.
I don't know what to say.
The clan decided not to discuss this around you, lest it poison your heart with sadness.
I can't believe I've never heard this tale.
Our people have learned to live with much sorrow. It seemed only right that we not dwell on it. Your mother did leave you a gift. Something of your father's for you to have once you were older. Perhaps the time has come.
Oh? Where is it?
Take this key. You'll see some chests behind the storage Aravel by the Halapen. One of them was your mother's. Its contents are yours if you wish.
Heading back to the row of locked chests, we can use the key on the large white one in the middle. Inside we find a necklace. We can't dwell on this too long. We have important things to do, we have Tamlin to think of. But as far as we are concerned, humans killed both our father and our mother. We can then read a note behind an Aravel that will give us a codex page on Aravels. We are the Dalish, keepers of the lost lore, walkers of the lonely path. We are the last Elven. Never again shall we submit, the oath of the Dales. Someone once told me that humans flee when they see the sails of our Aravels flying above the tops of the trees. I say good, let them flee. The humans took everything from us, our homeland, our freedom, our immortality. What's a little fear compared to all the horrors inflicted upon us? I recite the oath of the Dales to myself each day when I sleep and when I wake. Never again shall we submit. Never again. The Keeper says that one day the Dalish will find a home that we can call our own. But why? Why should we tie ourselves to stone constructions like the humans and the dwarves? What is wrong with the life we have now? We owe nothing to anyone. We have no master but ourselves, and we go where the Hala and the gods take us. There is nothing more wonderful than sitting on an Aravel as it flies through the forest, pulled by our Hala. We are truly free, for the first time in our people's history. Why should we change this? From the Journal of Taniel, Clan Hunter. Then we can find another scroll by a tree that will give us a codex page on the Dales. You will hear tales of the woman Andraste. The Shemlin name her prophet, bride of their maker. But we knew her as a war leader, one who, like us, had been a slave and dreamed of liberation. We joined her rebellion against the Imperium, and our heroes died beside her, unmourned into winter bonfires. But we stayed with our so-called allies until the war ended. Our reward? A land in southern Orlais called the Dales. So we began the long walk to our new home. Halam Sharal, the end of the journey, was our capital, built out of the reach of the humans. We could once again forget the incessant passage of time. Our people began the slow process of recovering the culture and traditions we had lost to slavery. But it was not to last. The Chantry first sent missionaries into the Dales, and then, when those were thrown out, Templars. We were driven from Halam Sharal, scattered. Some took refuge in the cities of the Shemlin, living in squalor, tolerated only a little better than vermin. We took a different path. We took to the wilderness, never stopping long enough to draw the notice of our Shemlin neighbors. In our self-imposed exile, we kept what remained of elven knowledge and culture alive. The end of the long walk, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. Finally, we can speak with Merrill, Keeper Maratharis first.
The Keeper told me I'm to accompany you back to those caves. As her apprentice, I may see something you missed. But our main objective is to find Tamlin, of course. We must make haste. He may not have much time.
Fenarel is coming with us. Any objections?
That depends on the Keeper. I thought we're supposed to go alone.
I say he comes.
Fine, but if the Keeper gets angry, it's on your head. So that's settled. Are you ready to go?
How much did the Keeper tell you?
Enough to pique my interest and my concern. You can explain the rest on the way.
Let's go.
And let us make haste while daylight lasts.
Here we are again, only this time without Tamlin. As we make our way down the familiar path, instead of being attacked by wolves, Darkspawn greet us with arrows and steel.
What were those things? Were those Darkspawn?
That would make sense.
I've never seen anything like them. You can smell the evil on them. Where did they come from? Were they here before?
I think I would have noticed.
Let's move on and hope we don't meet any more of these monsters. Before we go, are you all right? Were you hurt during the fight?
I'm fine. Why do you ask?
You do look quite pale, now that Meryl's mentioned it.
What are you implying?
Nothing. Forget I said anything. Let's go.
Continuing on our way back towards the ruins, we come to that clearing with the half-buried chest. Only this time, there's a makeshift camp there.
I wonder whose camp this is. Do you remember it being here?
It's abandoned, whomever it belonged to.
The Grey Warden said he was returning to the cave. Perhaps this is his camp. If so, he's not here now. And we've seen no sign of Tamlin. Maybe we should... Wait. Do you hear that?
What?
Exactly. The forest is too... still. Something's in the air. Something unnatural.
Perhaps we'll see more walking corpses.
Would they come outside the cave? That would... not be good.
That's an understatement.
The sooner we find this cave and Tamlin, the sooner we can leave. Take us there quickly.
After facing off against more Darkspawn, we finally see the familiar structures that lead to the entrance of the cave. Once inside, Merrill stops us again.
So these are the ruins. Interesting. They're definitely of human origin, yet elven artifacts are scattered amongst them. Nothing explains the monsters, though. But we must find Tamlin, or what's left of him. I can't imagine he's still alive with those creatures about.
As much as we don't want to believe it, it's hard to deny observable truths. You're probably right.
Still, even if he's here somewhere, we need to find his body. Let's just pray we're wrong.
More Darkspawn are waiting for us as we work our way through the halls and back to the room with the mirror. When we finally arrive, we see the Shemlin Duncan examining the mirror.
So you were the one fighting Darkspawn. I thought I heard combat. You're the elf I found wandering the forest, aren't you? I'm surprised you have recovered.
Hearing the story of our parents has us on edge, and we don't have the normal control over our anger. I don't know you, human, nor do I owe you anything.
Even if you didn't owe this human your life, a Grey Warden deserves respect.
He owes me nothing. It was my duty to return an injured Dalish to your clan. Your people have always been allies with the Grey Wardens.
An understanding human. How nice for you.
My name is Duncan, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you. The last time we spoke, you were barely conscious.
Andera Natishan, Duncan of the Grey Wardens. I am Meryl. the Keeper's apprentice.
And I am Fenarel. Did you come here alone, human? Battling all those creatures?
Yes, though I must admit you took a great deal of pressure off me. Your keeper did not send you after me, did she? I told her I would be in no danger.
We're looking for our brother, Tamlin.
So, you and your friend Tamlin both entered this cave, and you saw this mirror.
Was that bear we saw a darkspawn?
Perhaps. The mirror draws darkspawn to it. The Grey Wardens have seen artifacts like this mirror before. It is Tevinter in origin, used for communication. Over time, some of them simply break. They become filled with the same taint as the darkspawn. Tamlin's touch must have released it. It's what made you sick. And Tamlin too, I presume.
Then we should destroy it.
I agree. So long as the mirror exists, it is a threat to anyone nearby.
I do not fear this sickness. The Keeper knows how to cure it.
She may have weakened it, but she cannot cure it. Your recovery is only temporary. I can sense the sickness in you, and it is spreading. Look inside yourself, and you will see.
The human is right. We may feel fine now, but something deep within us is different, darker, maybe even evil. We just know it is there. Then what should I do?
First, we deal with the mirror. It is a pestilence and a threat. It is done. Now let's leave this cursed place. I must speak with the Keeper immediately regarding your cure.
What about Tamlin?
There is nothing we can do.
I'm not leaving until I find him.
Let me be very clear. There is nothing you can do for him. He's been tainted for 3 days now, unaided. Through your Keeper's healing arts and your own willpower, you did not die, but Tamlin has no chance. Trust me when I say that he is gone. Now we should return.
Won't there at least be a body?
The Darkspawn would have taken it.
Why would they take his body? Not to eat it, I hope.
Darkspawn are evil creatures, and it's best to leave it at that. I'm sorry.
Why not just tell me what the cure is?
It's not that simple. I would tell you more, but I must first speak with your Keeper.
Very well. Let's go back to the camp.
I sense no other Darkspawn nearby, so it's safe. Lead on.
I'm relieved you have returned, and I did not expect to see you again so soon, Duncan.
I was not expecting to return so soon either, Keeper.
Dare I ask of Tamlin? What did you find of him?
The Grey Warden says we will find nothing.
I see. Meryl, what about the mirror? Did you bring anything back?
I can answer that, Keeper. I destroyed the mirror.
I intended to use it to find a cure for this mysterious illness. I trust you had good reasons for your actions.
There is much to discuss, Keeper. I have learned a great deal since I was last here.
Let us speak privately within my Aravel, then, Duncan. Meryl, warn the hunters. If Darkspawn are about, I want the clan prepared.
Manuvinen, Keeper. Right away.
Darlene, allow me some time to speak with Duncan. Seek us out at my Aravel later, and we can discuss your cure.
Why can't we discuss it now?
Because I must talk to your Keeper first. It will not take long.
Tell Tharin Pyvel what has occurred. He now has the sad task of preparing a service for the dead. Follow me, Duncan. I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Not only is Tamlin lost to us, now we are ill, and only this human knows our cure. While we wait for Duncan and the Keeper to talk, we can speak with a few of our friends and family.
I see you have not returned with young Tamlin. Are we to assume the worst?
The Grey Warden says he will not be found.
A sad day for our clan. I know you and Tamlin were friends. My condolences on your loss.
Thank you, Master Island.
May the Creators guide your path.
Oh, thank the Creators you're safe. I questioned the Keeper's wisdom at sending you off while you're still sick, but my doubts were misplaced. Tamlin isn't with you. Is it as everyone fears?
We never found his body.
Oh, poor dear. Is this horrible news? Please take care of yourself and get better. We can't bear to lose anyone else.
The Grey Warden knows a cure for my illness.
That's good. I thought the Shemlin's arrival was a bad omen, but perhaps I was wrong. I will see you soon, my dear. You make me very proud.
I wish we could have found Tamlin. If those creatures... Oh, I can't bear to think about that. Why do you think the Grey Warden won't tell you about this cure? It seems rather cruel to withhold it.
He will tell me soon, or else.
Keeper Marathari won't let him withhold it. I say we get your cure, move the clan north, and put this all behind us.
Finally, we can do as the Keeper asked and speak with Harren Pyvel.
So you return with the Grey Warden, but without Tamlin. What happened, Dalen? Is he truly lost to us?
The Grey Warden says he is, but I'm not sure.
Even if he's not, we must leave soon. To think I'd live to see this. It seems the will of the creators that I sing the dirge for those I held in my arms as babes. I think I know why our immortal ancestors would sleep. Swiftly do stars burn a path across the sky, hastening to place one last kiss upon your eye. Tenderly land enfolds you in slumber, softening the rolling thunder. Dagger now sheathed, bow no longer tense. During this, your last hour, only silence.
The Keeper wants me to tell you to prepare a service.
Of course. We've no body to return to the soil, but we shall still sing for Tamlin. The creators must come to guide him to the beyond. Tell the Keeper, it shall be done before the clan is ready to move on.
Thank you, Harren.
I ask only one thing, if I may. This Grey Warden. You have met him now, yes? Is he a good man?
He seems honorable for a Shemlin.
Interesting. What is it he talks to the Keeper about, I wonder? Perhaps you should go and ask.
I should go.
Of course. May the gods guide your path, Dalen.
Turning around, we see Duncan and the Keeper have left her Aravel. Approaching them.
Your Keeper and I have spoken, and we've come to an arrangement that concerns you. My order is in need of help. You are in need of a cure. When I leave, I hope you will join me. You would make an excellent Grey Warden.
What does this have to do with my cure?
Everything, I'm afraid. The darkspawn taint courses through your veins. That you recovered at all is remarkable. But eventually the taint will sicken and kill you, or worse. The Grey Wardens can prevent that, but it means joining us.
So that's our choice then. Leave with the Grey Warden or die a painful, slow death before our loved ones. Our curiosity, our recklessness cost the clan one already, and now it will cost them another should we leave. We feel ashamed, unworthy, and for the first time in our lives, we want to get as far away from our people as possible. Then I will join you.
I welcome you to the Order. It is rare to have a Dalish amongst us, but they have always served with distinction.
I know you'll do your clan proud, Dalen. Take this ring. It is your heritage, and will protect you against the darkness to come.
A valuable gift. So, are you ready to go?
We don't even feel like we want to attend Tamlin's funeral. Deep in our hearts, we do not believe he has passed on yet. Yes.
Then say your farewells, and let us be off. We have much ground to cover.
Come then, Dalen. Before the creators guide you from us, let your clan embrace you one last time.
This was the final possible identity of the future hero of Ferelden, the last possible origin story. In the next part, we will see what comes next, how exactly our hero becomes a Grey Warden, and ultimately, what it costs. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more content like this every week on my channel. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.